guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. How is y'all guys day? So for me, it's Ramadan month. I don't know if y'all guys are doing Ramadan right now or it's a different month, but today is Ramadan month, and I wanted to tell you guys about being hard on ourselves. So I will be doing you'll be hearing my background story and stuff like that. So you'll be getting to know a little bit about me, on how I noticed that being hard on yourselves comes with a whole lot of levels, difficulties, and it affects you very much. I thought being hard on myself in the past was a good thing, and some people does it unconsciously, some people does it consciously, but I was conscious of me being hard on myself. And so I want to describe to you why it's not good to be hard on ourselves, even in general, because it affects us spiritually and everything like that. So before I begin, I know I should have said this in the beginning, but how was y'all excuse me. How was y'all guys' day? So my day, since it's Ramadan, like I'm literally fasting on. This is my second fast. I'm just on water. I'm not doing like any Muslim things. I'm just fasting on water for 3 days. Today's my second day of my fasting, and at the end of the month, or somewhere in April, May. So in May, I thought it was March, So, I'm not really good with my seasons of the month, so I gotta like get back onto that. But May, I would probably be uploading a video about how my Ramadan is going, how my Ramadan in total was. But right now, my day is going pretty well. So let's go ahead and jump right in, shall we? So people who have made a mistake loses their higher vibration and now are at a low vibration. So they try to get back at where they were before. These are the ones who lose themselves in the process. So in the past, I was like I said, I was very hard on myself. I was at a higher vibration till I dropped to a lower vibration. And so, well, I don't want to spoil. I don't want to spoil. Let me go ahead and just, talk this out during the video. So, they will start seeking for their souls, and this leads to them getting into religions. And religions give you a sense of comfort, but what's behind that is their agenda falling up to helping Satan. Where does higher vibration comes from? Higher vibration comes from your soul. When you are connected and aligned to your soul, you'll be at a higher vibration. And the more truth you speak, the higher vibration becomes. There are also other things that will help you reach a higher vibration, like gratitude and others. But being aligned and speaking the truth is a very high vibration, then the rest follows in. So, like I said, I dropped to a low vibration and I began seeking into religion. So, at first, I was a Christian, somewhat Christian. I didn't really read the Holy Bible as much. I just read the verses a day, but like hardly. I put that to the side, just in case for people who's looking at my channel, it's like, okay, well, what did you think about Jesus' crucifixion? Back then I just kind of went with the flow. So it's like, I didn't really think too much about that. So I was like, I was hardly a Christian. So, because I was caught up into the world life. But so I decided to read the Quran. I didn't have the Quran book, but I read it online. I didn't really pay much attention to that. It would give me it was giving me warning signs, but I didn't pay attention. I had symphony for a little bit, but then I went on to my worldly life and not paying attention to the Quran and what it was saying and the consequences. I ended up dropping to a lower vibration. So when I dropped to a lower vibration, I began to look into the religion itself, and my vibration, when I started looking into religion itself, that means hadith, started looking into more scholars instead of reading the Quran. I would read the Quran a little bit, but going to religion made me take away from reading the Quran in general, and I will talk more about that. So my energy was like different. It was like the religion was giving me a sense of comfort. It was like bringing me in, like, like come in, come in. And I just felt so invited. I felt so comfortable and everything. But my energy wasn't aligned with the truth. It wasn't getting into a higher vibration. As much videos I keep watching and watching. It was like the videos were first, to start taking action, but then, the more videos I watch, it was like just comfort and ease. So it's like, not really too much action, but comfort and ease. And that right there really put me in my comfort zone. I didn't really get out of my comfort zone, and my energies just still stayed the same, and it was just going left instead of straight or right. So I'm going to explain more about this. Just let me take away these real quick. So they don't put their trust in the Creator nor follow the Quran or ancient Hebrew Bible because it's too simple and easy. We look at it as if there is more we need to do to get back to a higher vibration. Again, our soul. This leads people to deviate from their purpose and far astray. I recommend this to you. I suggest you to learn Syriac language or Arabic. I don't know if they're both the same, but still looking into that. But there's also a website for you to read for free. But if you want, you can just buy the book. So, like I said, I was like somewhat following my purpose until I dropped to a lower vibration. Now I began to start seeking, and I was like, it was like a desperate thing to get back to that vibration again. And of course, I followed religion, and I became more astray. I didn't follow my purpose, and so yeah, that was actually like a whole lot of things. But now I'm like, cool. I'm like, cool. So certainly Creator loves those who put their trust in Him. Now about this right here, you can actually read this online. You can actually buy this. And then the ancient Hebrew Torah. So the thing about these books is that I would compare it to the other books, and if they're religious, then they're not it. They're not, the truth. They're not what is. But if they're not religious, putting religion into it or having contradictions in it, now in the Quran, it's going to be different. But for the ancient Hebrew Torah, if you see contradictions in it, then that's not it. But if you don't see contradictions and it has more than a Torah, then it's probably the what is. And the ancient Hebrew Torahs in hieroglyphs, I'm not quite sure. But I would recommend you to put these two books together to compare it to see if it's actually the real deal, But I'm gonna erase this real quick. Alright, so Creator intends for you ease and does not intend for you hardship. So, oh Creator, nothing's easy except what you have made easy. If you wish, you can make the difficult easy. Now, as you guys know, I do not say this word right here because I rather say Creator. I think I explained in the Evil Inclination video that this word means curse. Alright, so before I also I can't move along because I didn't finish this part. But if you hear any background noises, my baby cousin is here, and I gotta take care of him, of course. All right, so let's move on. The Creator is meant for us ease, not for us to be hard on ourselves, but to be firm with ourselves. In life, we make things difficult when it's actually easy, even through relationships. The things that are difficult, we can make them easy. Everything to our problem or what we're going through has an answer. If we start being true and rationalize ourselves, this is another way how we can overcome being hard on ourselves and attain a higher vibration. Al-Baraka. So I'm pretty sure that's a very nice name, and I'm probably pronouncing it wrong. But our Creator, fill us with endurance and make our feet firm and support us against those who reject faith. Oh, you have believed, be persistently standing firm in justice. Witness for Creator, even if it may be against yourselves. So that's also another way how you can also attain a higher vibration, as well as exposing yourself. And that's very hard to do as well, but exposing like yourself. So firm is the opposite of being hard on yourself. You know what's out there that will make you lose your soul, or that will make you become at a lower vibration. Being firm is knowing what benefits you and what harms your vibration. So it's like standing, having your feet on the ground, not above the air, not in front of you, not, in the clouds. So it's actually having your feet on this earth. Um, Having firmness is knowing what you need to do and how to do them the right way, and giving yourself a push. Start by listing down your downfalls and find a way to correct them. So for me in the past, I never really I never really list down my downfalls. In fact, I looked at my downfalls, and I guess I began to stress myself out about it, because of my downfall. And I will explain this more as we get along, because I do not want to spoil much. So if things I say may seem confusing to you, it will be explained in the video, creator willing. So, so if anger was your downfall, then by being happy replaces your anger. Every negative solution is solved in the Quran and ancient Hebrew Bible in the most generous and humbled way. So I would also say that to list down your downfall, as well as if you have anger, list down being happy, and then also list down being grateful, having gratitude. There are also other things that can help with anger and smiling. So I suggest that you can write down that as well. And the other thing is that to reflect yourself upon the Quran. So instead of calling yourself stupid or dumb, start looking in the Quran and saying, okay, well, let's say anger, right? So you look in the Quran and says, okay, well, anger is not in the Quran to some degree, but anger probably means arrogant. Okay, the consequences of being arrogant is, this, that, and the Quran will tell you. So it's like, and people who does not like the truth. So it's like, okay, well, I don't like the truth. Let me reflect myself upon the Quran. If I don't like the truth, then I reject truth. That means that I'm a disbeliever. All right, so let's look what a disbeliever is. All right, disbeliever says this, and this. And the consequences for disbelieving is this and this. And then the hereafter is this and this. And also, if you're a hypocrite, then it's also other things that will explain how you can end hypocrisy, how you can avoid hypocrisy, anything in the Quran and ancient Hebrew Bible. And it tells you how to avoid these things, to be mindful and heedful as well, not heedless. So let's go ahead and move on. Being hard on ourselves is when you don't benefit from anything. You become unaware of knowing what brung you to a lower vibration. Rather, we just look at our downfalls, becoming bitter, ungrateful, doubtful, and a whole lot of other things that comes with. So being hard on ourselves, we don't know when we become ungrateful, because we're not aware to hear what we're actually saying. And when we're not aware hearing what we're saying, then it becomes it comes with consequences, and it becomes like it's not really good. So I hope that makes you understand. So it's almost like saying you're blinded to the truth, and that truth is your downfall, and how to actually look in the Quran to actually help you to become at a good vibration. Excuse me. So let's move on. I'm meaning that to summarize what I just said is to actually reflect yourself upon the Quran. And sometimes we don't know, when being hard on ourselves, we don't know whether we become ungrateful. Sometimes we do know, but most of the times, people who are hard on themselves, we don't know whether we're becoming ungrateful, doubtful, and a whole lot of other things. And so we're basically in a fog. And, I hope I hope I summarized that up pretty good. So let's move on. If the key was to be aligned with our soul at a higher vibration, but we had to be hard on ourselves, no one will make that commitment to attain that state of goal. So being hard on ourselves is very, very, very important. It's very serious because if no one is going to be committed to attain being in soul aligned with our soul and at a higher vibration, then it's like, okay, well, being hard on ourselves is a very serious thing and something that you really actually have to take into action. And I learned that myself. So hopefully that will help. So let's move on. I'm sorry. Then again, if you hear background noises, I am very sorry. So being more understanding of being firm is taking things that we make difficult and make them easy. Being in a state of gratefulness and humbleness at the things we achieve or are about to achieve. Taking things day by day, step by step to achieve or correct our downfalls. Managing what you need to do so therefore you won't be stressed. And being consistent by reading the Quran, ancient Hebrew Bible, and videos that will benefit you and others and to take action on them. Having firmness helps us with our problems and others, whether it's by video, Quran verse, or by the ancient Hebrew Bible, and holding yourself accountable towards your downfalls and yourself. So I hope that helps you as well. And I'm going to go more into the process. But let's go ahead and know what is being hard on ourselves. So more understanding of being hard on ourselves. We pursue in doubt about whether we can achieve being at a higher vibration like we were before, and more importantly, our potential. So, and we swarm our minds up with a lot of doubts, guilt, and other things, causing us to stress, and we give up. Finishing things or being ready on time leave us to stress, and we rush things because of that. When we get the hardest things done, it may never seem enough because we haven't reached our goal or get where we were at before or need to be. I'll explain more on that on the. I will explain more on the next slide. Excuse me. But and this leads to ungratefulness because we're looking at things in a good perspective. Wait, I think my words are cut out. Let's see. And this leads to ungratefulness because we're not looking. No, I am not saying it wrong. It's not right here. I'm just gonna highlight that because we're not looking at things at a good perspective. That maybe whatever you learned or read, we're supposed to take action on. And you're probably gonna hear this more later on in the video as well. But don't be hard on yourself. Perfection belongs to Creator alone. Just keep trying. I actually like that verse very well. It's not a verse, but it's I like that quote very much. And it's by Dr. Phillips. Let's just because I don't feel like I would rather pronounce the words that I can pronounce at least. So let me go ahead and let's move on. When we get the hardest things done, it may never seem enough because we haven't reached our goal or get where we were at before or need to be. When you're waiting for something, you have two options and a middle course you can take. Doubting is the negative option you can take. The second option is being firm and having faith. Doubting is giving off a low vibration of being unsure of yourself or things. And whatever that person or your answer may be, you doubt them, which causes a negative energy because you don't think of anything positive. And when you try to look at the positive side, 100% that positivity will be more of a wish. For example, it's not like it's going to happen anyway, and even if it did, it'll have to be a miracle. Or I wish that the answer or whatever that person is going to do or say will be a yes. I wish things went well, or I wish in the future that person will come back to me. This is not faith, and being firm and being firm. It's relying on the future or whatever the event may be to settle itself out. You're not taking actions for things to be positive. It's praying for something but taking no action. So it's like if you want something from the creator, so let's say if you want, yeah, we're talking about achieving a higher vibration, getting to a higher vibration and not being hard on ourselves. Let's say that we wanted to attain being at a higher vibration state again or needing to be at that vibration state. So we pray for that, but we don't take any actions whatsoever. So we're just waiting and waiting and waiting. Well, no, you can't attain that. I mean, prayer is good, but also taking action is also good. So it's like how you can't just, I mean, to do a good deed, you have to, like, take action. So, not just only praying, but also taking action. So let's keep moving forward. Every time when I start, about to go into explaining things, I should underline things. But I think I got it. Okay, so people who take the middle course are those who are in between being firm and having faith or doubting. They wait till things happen to them, and whatever whatever that may be, they'll react. I thought I had skipped a line there, but I didn't, so I'm good. So they're playing a game of checkerboard, or you could say future predictions. For example, if something bad was going to happen, it's not going to affect them as much because they already predicted the event. But if things went good, then they'll be surprised and grateful for a little bit. But it won't have an everlasting grateful energy on them. So because they predicted it, it's like giving let's see. Okay, it's because they predicted it, it's like giving a kid a PS5 and you see them grateful for a little bit, then they're back to their normal selves. You ask, what's wrong? They'll say, well, I already knew I was going to get this. I was just in between waiting to see which side was right, but I'm still grateful though. So having the energy of gratefulness won't last long on people who follows the middle course because of that. Another example is if things went good, then they're going to say, I knew it. And you won't be at a high level of vibration because you were in between both doubt, being firm, and having faith. This is where being hard on yourself leads to, plus a whole lot of others. Not having a sure enough faith or being firm with ourselves to choose between the negative and the positive of our own decisions or whatever may happen. So now you can see that being hard on ourselves is very, very serious to take into action. So let me go ahead. We just wait to see what happens, and whatever happens, whether it's good or bad, we won't be surprised. And this is very dangerous for a believer because this shows no firmness and being ungrateful. It's hard to open our eyes and look at things in a good way or things we can challenge ourselves on. What I mean is that if someone asked or you did something or is working on something, perhaps even thinking about something, and the decision or an answer to your question will take some days. Have faith and be firm even if you think your answer is going to be a no. And even if it's a no, then be happy and grateful and that at least you chose to have faith. At least you even chose to have faith and be firm. It's better than doubting or choosing to be in the middle course. And if it is a yes, still be grateful and firm. Sometimes we get told no for a very important reason that could benefit us in the future. The originator 3532, I'm not sure how you say that, but then we granted the book to those who have chosen from our servants. Some of them wrong themselves, some follow a middle course, and some are foremost in good deeds by Creator's will. That is truly the greatest bounty. So, I wanted to put that Quran verse because I found it very unique, and also it has there's other way you can explain middle course and videos and as well. So hopefully when I do make another video, I will also be explaining middle course in that video, but I can't tell you because it's like, big surprise. I can't tell you what next video I will be doing. And it's not Ramadan because, I already spoiled that one. But, so I will explain that later on in life, you could say, or in time. But let's move on. The other thing about being hard on ourselves / ungratefulness is that we're never satisfied with whatever we do. Even when we work so hard that we literally put our health at risk on something. Some people work pays out in the end and some doesn't. Those whose work doesn't pay out in the end, you'll see them getting very angry and bitter to themselves and others. The kind of reaction comes to show that they wasn't grateful, not as you see. Mistypo. So since it was my mistypo, I'm gonna try to pronounce this. Was to. Was to. Was to. I don't, was. I'm like stuck on the same word, was it? Then again, forgive me about the background noises. But, was it, but it's close to wasn't, but it's not. So, being grateful bit by bit, thanking the Creator. Even though you worked so hard, the key is being firm and grateful during our journey or the process. People who works doesn't pay out but doesn't get bitter or ungrateful are the ones who were grateful in the process. This might not be the case all the time because the Creator could be testing us, so we should be very mindful. Now, I want to explain why these two are different than this one. So if you look in Latin about this word right here, you'll find like something about rubber, I'm not sure. And then you'll find gratefulness. So I'd rather have, the full word great because you're feeling great. And then I'd rather have full as in like tummy full instead of having half a letter full and rubber and then translate it to gratefulness or something. So, I'd rather do that part. I gotta make sure I don't want you guys to, I don't want to click on the wrong slide and y'all guys see my other slides. So I was like, I gotta keep that very mindful. All right, so let's move on. So, gratefulness and being firm is having fun in our challenge, decisions, or a project / journey. When we strive to live our purpose to become grateful and firm, you'll have fun in the process and become more successful reaching a higher vibration. Even with the favors of the Creator, show that you're grateful than those who show their ingratitude and bitterness towards themselves and the Creator's favors. So, I also wanted to say is that when you stop being hard on yourselves and start being grateful even at the little things as well, not only do you sustain a higher vibration, but it's actually really fun, and that's through experience. And it's like it's very easy because it's like you already know what's your downfall. You pay more attention to the Quran or ancient Hebrew Bible instead of like the scholars and the hadiths and stuff like that. So you start paying more attention to that and you become more aware, like I had said in the previous slides. So it's actually really, really fun, and I hope you guys do take this into action. So therefore, life can be very easy and fun, and not only just fun, but learning and just in a challenge, because, who wouldn't want a challenge? I mean, I would like a challenge. Yes, I would like a challenge, and I want to quite tell you, well, I do have a challenge, actually, and challenges doesn't have to be just like years to come, months to come, weeks to come. It could be our every day-to-day challenge, like waking up in the morning early, doing what you need to do, trying not to if you're tempted by something, try not to fall into temptation. And so it's like, challenge yourself. And if you need, and if you're a very forgetful person, and sometimes I forget, then write things down. And so, like a calendar or a schedule. So, and if that doesn't help, because if you don't, like, if you go out everywhere, write it down on your phone and make sure you have like a gazillion notifications coming on your phone to the point where you get annoyed. Because when you get annoyed about, temptation or your downfalls or anything else that's a very huge challenge for you, then you're going to start doing better. And like, you know what? All right, I'm getting this gazillion notifications on my phone about not to get angry, right? Let's say. All right, I'm going to be happy. I'm going to start being happy because I'm getting annoyed by that fact. And then you start being happy, and then you're like, wow, I'm actually glad that I have a gazillion notifications that's texting me left and right not to be angry or something like that. So let's do move on. And I do have my baby cousin in the background, so if you hear him, don't mind me. Don't mind us, basically. So as if to show their ingratitude for the favors we have bestowed on them, then enjoy your brief day, but soon you will come to know your folly. Translation: becoming ungrateful for whatever favors we have given them. So enjoy yourselves, for soon you will come. So for soon you will know. I don't know. I just like to say, for soon you will come to know. I don't know why I like that, but let's make it factual. It says, for soon you will know. So I'm going to explain this Quran verse. That was my Quran verse of the day, reflecting myself back at what happened. I was in between two choices or making predictions, whether I should have doubts, follow the middle course, or stand firm and having faith. I chose to stand firm and have faith no matter what happens. Hours went by, I began to start worrying, which leads to doubt. But I had to keep myself in check not to doubt. So I'm saying that, I didn't doubt, but I was worrying, and which worrying, if you keep worrying, then it leads to doubt, I hope that makes sense. I know I didn't summarize it up really well because it's like the same thing that I'm literally saying. So let's move on though. But I had to keep myself in check, not to doubt. Evening time came and I had read my Quran book. There were interesting topics that reassured my faith and purpose. At the end of the day, I was grateful that I chose to stand firm and have faith. Even if things didn't work out, I reflected myself upon a Quran verse that hypocrites and the believers. So this goes on to what I've been talking about, reflecting yourself upon the Quran verse. So let me go ahead and finish. I couldn't really call myself a hypocrite, but I do become ungrateful sometimes without realizing that I am, or even knowing that I am. And so the worst thing is to know that you're ungrateful. But the worst thing is to know that you're ungrateful, but don't change that. So let's see. When I woke up the next morning and received my Quran verse of the day, things made more sense. Since to me, although I didn't tell you exactly what happened because that's personal, but I hope I gave you a good example that you have two choices and a middle course you can pick. Know that the ungrateful are never successful. So this goes back to, let me just kind of undo this. So this goes back to what I was saying. Imagine if I chose the middle course and the next day I received my Quran verse that says exactly this. Imagine how I will feel really bad. But imagine if I became doubtful if I chose the negative course. Okay, then I will feel very, very bad and very, very ashamed. It will be way worse than choosing a middle course. Just the guilt. So it's like, but you don't want to be in the middle course just to feel guilt and safe. Rather you want to choose the positive course and know that you're safe. To know that you're safe, and where you don't have to have guilt in the end. So that's why you really have to be careful. And it's like, for Quran verse of the day, this is free depending on whether you want to if you want to add additional things to it, I think. So it's called Muslim Fed. That's the Quran verse that I do read. And I do suggest to you, because sometimes it doesn't make sense at times. So I read it 2 times, and then I go to the English translation, another translation of what I did here. And I would go to Quran.com for the translation to English, and then go back to reading it again. That's up to you. But if you do want a Quran verse of the day, then I suggest you to download Muslim Fed. But I also suggest you to download, to also keep reading the Quran as well, not only just the verse of the days, but to read the actual book or read online. So let's move on. To avoid what I did, choose to be firm and have faith. Say, even if it may seem difficult to you, just be patient and you'll see. After that, just remember to have patience, faith, and be firm. There's always a greater outcome, even if the answer is no. That's probably for the best in the future. Besides, it's better than being doubtful or choosing the middle course and being ungrateful. Let's see, and do not lose hope in the mercy of Creator. Indeed, none lose hope in the mercy of Creator except the most ungrateful people. And when I was doing I was trying to like find a verse that's actually pretty good. And when I came across that verse, I was like, it would really surprise me. I was like, wow. It was like really surprised me. So hopefully you guys can take heed on this as well. Let's talk about the meaning of time for people who are firm versus the people who are hard on themselves. People who are hard on themselves versus the people who are firm looks at time differently. So as you see, this is a person that is hard on themselves. You got time here, you got this right here, you got time right there. And it doesn't always have to do with business or anything, but it doesn't always have to do with business, homework. It's just in general as well. And you got someone that's just like, vacation, and just relaxing. So doing as much as you can as possible. And I will explain that later down in the video. Creating a link. So if a person that is hard on themselves sets 30 minutes on a timer and needed to complete 2 things, one thing takes 20 minutes of their time, and they're now down to 10 minutes to get the last one completed. So they rushed through the last one, not learning anything because they only had 10 minutes to get it done. Those who are firm, they will see how much they can complete in a day, not worrying about the time. If a lesson, research, or anything that took their whole day and they start feeling sleepy, they'll call things a night without wrestling with themselves to stay up. So they can wake up early and finish up what they have to do. But people who are hard on themselves will stress themselves out and stay up to 3 a.m. to get things completed. And when they have to wake up at 8 or something in the morning, they're too tired to get up. Excuse me for my stumblings or my stuttering. Stumblings more likely. But not only but that if they wake up early in the morning and hours go by and it's starting to get dimmer outside, they'll start looking outside more and more, including the time, than focusing on their work. And this will cause the stress and worry so much they rush to get finished, feeling guilty afterwards, just so they can get to the next thing or have free time to themselves. Not learning or remembering what they have just read or did. And when they decide not to rush or put their health at risk, saying, I got to finish this, I'll eat later, or I'll do 5 pages, I eat then, do the rest of the 5. But when they get halfway finished, they just go ahead and finish all of it. Staying up late when we're, let me staying up late when we're okay. Yeah, I was right. Staying up late when we're so tired trying to get things completed won't benefit us in the least. Then later on down the line, we become ungrateful, regretful, and bitter. When I was rehearsing these slides and everything, I had to I end up stumbling even when I rehearsed them. So, but nothing wrong with that. But also with ungrateful, regretful, and bitter, that was very ungrateful and regretful was very hard with my tongue because got ungrateful, then regretful. So it's I gotta put that language in my tongue to make sure it's accurate. So let's move on. This is how jinns, jinns, demons, translated in English, operates through stress, worrying, and time, or how much minutes we got left on the clock. Use time wisely by making schedules, including schedules, anything that helps you so things won't stress you out. Stay firm and stay focused on the topic, not worrying about the time. You got this. Be calm like the waves, not like the waves that crash into each other, and have a peaceful mindset. And also having a peaceful mindset brings you down to earth and all is also a part of being firm. But not having a peaceful mindset is being hard on yourself and other things. So let's go ahead and jump into a video. So don't look at the time. I know you guys are probably looking at the time to see how many minutes this concludes. So, but I do suggest you to get a pen and paper to write some things down. And it's called The Devil's Motive, and what this person says is very accurate. So I do suggest you still stay in tune. If you have to do some things, go ahead. Unlike for me, I have some things to do myself. So I will be seeing you guys in 22 minutes and 52 seconds. I try to say that fast, thinking I could be cool with that, but I might as well just, stick with me. So I will see y'all guys very soon.
Today, inshallah ta'ala, I'll share with you the continuation of the few lessons I wanted to extract from Surah Al-A'raf, the 7th surah of the Quran, where Allah talks about in exhaustive detail the story of creation and the story of Adam alayhi salam, and the devil, Iblis. And what I wanted to highlight today, after speaking about arrogance and jealousy last time, is actually when Allah Azza wa Jal asked him, or actually commanded him to be expelled. He's lost his rank, he's going to be pushed out from the closeness of Allah. At that point, he responds to Allah. And as I get to that response of the devil, I wanted to first explain to you why the word shaitan is important to understand. It has a non-Arabic origin also, but in the Arabic language, it is argued to be from one of two origins. It's shait or shatan. There's two possible origins of the word. And the word shatan in Arabic actually means taba'ada. It means someone that goes far, far away. Someone who's very far and very long distance away. It's actually the same reason why the word shatan is used in Arabic for a very long, extensive rope. So a super long rope is actually called al-hablul mumtad, is actually also called a shatan. And from it you get the word shaitan. The other side of it, actually, the origin of the word shait, it actually means someone who is engulfed in flames because of anger. Meaning someone who's fired, literally in many languages, you use the idea of, man, he was fired up, or he was on fire. Or man, what you said set me ablaze, or my heart is on fire. The idea of fire being associated, or being ablaze, being associated with anger, or hatred, or spite, that he's set on fire because of his spite. And some have tried to combine both of these meanings, suggesting that he's gone too far in his hate. And anytime there's any opportunity for him to get closer and reduce that hate, he keeps pushing it away and keeps going further and further away. And as a matter of fact, that's part of what he does for us. His job is actually to take something that isn't a good quality that we have inside of ourselves. First of all, he wants to set that quality on fire, excite that quality, serve as a catalyst. He can't make us do bad things, but there is a potential dangerous ingredients inside the human being already. He can encourage you to be careless with those ingredients and start a fire. And once you do, then he wants you to keep going and going and going. يُرِيدُ الشَّيْطَانُ أَن تُضِلُّوا ضَلَالًا بَعِيدًا, Quran says. Shaitan wants that you go misguided far, far, far away. Just like he himself. He wants you to keep going and keep going and keep going. And not turn back. And he will, inshallah, we'll see how he does that. How is he successful in messing people up and making sure they stay messed up? So his response to Allah when Allah tells him to leave is أَنظِرْنِي إِلَى يَوْمِ يُبْعَثُونَ. Give me extra time, and it's not a lot of time. نَظَّرَ would be to give a lot of time. أَنظَرَ would be to give not too much time. I'm not asking for too much time until the day when they are resurrected. Meaning, don't punish me right away. Just give me some ability from even now until the day they're resurrected. And in the mind of shaitan, that's not a long time. In the mind of shaitan, who's actually been in the company of Allah, been in the company of the angels, he actually understands that from the time that this conversation happens until Judgment Day is not a very long time. And actually what he spins to all of us is, you got time. You got all the time in the world. You don't have to change right now. Ramadan's not for a few months. You're good, you know. So in your head and in my head, we feel like we've got very, very long. And even if death is near, then so what? The day of judgment, God knows when that's going to come. إِنَّهُمْ يَرَوْنَهُ بَعِيدًا وَنَرَاهُ قَرِيبًا. They see it as something very far away. Why do you have to worry about it right now? So that's one thing that we get from it. The other thing that's on a side note, it's not really part of what I want to give you in the khutbah, but on a side note, some people ask the question, and even recently I was asked, shaitan is someone Allah kicked out, someone Allah rejected. And yet later on in the story you learn that he was able to whisper to Adam and our mother, who were still in heaven. So how is he able to whisper to them while he's kicked out of heaven and they're still in heaven? And possibly the answer to that is actually this ability Allah gave him. First of all, he stays at a distance. He's part of the meaning of his word. He stays at a distance. But Allah gave him the ability to have his whisper reach us anyway. And that's not so hard for us to imagine today, right? People are very far away from us and their voice reaches us by means that would, in any other century of world history, would be considered magic. I can see my mother from across the ocean. That's, in any other day and age, that would be called magic. Today it's just an iPhone. Or today it's just a video call, right? It's just a Skype call. So, but the idea that he can reach from a distance and can whisper is an ability that Allah allowed him to have until the day of resurrection. So, أَنظِرْنِي إِلَى يَوْمِ يُبْعَثُونَ, and Allah immediately responded, قَالَ إِنَّكَ مِنَ الْمُنظَرِينَ. Fine, you are among those who've been given some time. I'll let you have some free space, from some free roam to operate within that space. The other thing here is, why did he ask for time? He knows punishment is coming. And he knows it's not that far away. What's he hoping to gain? He knows for a fact he will not avoid Allah's punishment. He knows for a fact that he's been rejected. There is no success for him at the end of all of this. There is no saving himself. There is no asking for forgiveness. He's given up on all of those things. He's gone far away from all of those things. He's made up his mind. So what's he going to accomplish? In his mind, so long as I can prove to Allah that I'm not the only failure. I'm a failure, sure. But my success will be if I can prove that they're also a failure. Aha, see? You think I'm a loser? They're losers too. And I'll prove it to you. Just give me time. This is his success. In his head, that's a goal. And you know what? That's a goal like a virus that he infects other people with. There are some people in whose life the only thing is, I don't care if I accomplish or not. I just want to make sure this one doesn't accomplish. I just make sure this one doesn't get. This is exactly what happened later on in this surah, in the story of Habil and Qabil. They both offered a sacrifice. One sacrifice was accepted and the other says, well, how was his accepted? I don't care if mine was accepted or not. I can't have him be successful. That bothers me. You know, jealousy even between human beings. Jealousy between siblings, between loved ones, between spouses, between parents. I've even met children that have said to me, you know, I don't like my parents. Why don't you like my parents? Because they love each other so much, it bothers me. Really? That bothers you? Yeah, because I know I'm never going to have anything like that. It just makes me jealous. Whoa, that's heavy. I mean, it sounds weird and funny, but it's actually pretty heavy. That a person can actually feel that. Shaitan can make you want something. Even if you're not going to have it, I wish they didn't have it. So long as they're miserable, I just want to make sure they're miserable, then I'll be happy. There are some people who might just be, you know, they're okay so long. So long as they don't hear from you. But if they find out that you're happy, if they find out that you were smiling, it really bothers them. Like, why is he happy? What just happened? I thought he disappeared. I thought she was miserable. And now I see this picture somewhere, or I see this video somewhere, or I heard from somewhere that they were happy. Huh? What is this? And then the thought of how did they get away with it? How are they smiling again? It just eats away at them. They can't get it out of their head. You know? This is from the devil himself. The devil can't see us succeed. And so he tells Allah, give me time and I'll prove my case. But then what he said, it's so loaded that it's not going to be done in one khutbah. His strategy it's not even a secret. He didn't even hide what he's going to do and how he's going to do it. He actually laid it all out. And Allah laid it all out for us because part of guidance, part of knowing the road is knowing the dangers on the road. So know your enemy, right? So you can't Allah didn't just give us directions. Here's how you get to heaven. Well, here are all the obstacles on your way to heaven. Here's all the obstacles that will keep you from succeeding. And here's your enemy waiting for you. So he says to Allah, قَالَ فَبِمَا أَغْوَيْتَنِي. And it is only because you made me turn the wrong way. This is what he says to Allah. It is only because you made me turn the wrong way. Who does he blame? Allah. This was your scheme. This was your plan. You knew it would bother me that Adam is made from dirt and you messed, because you're all-knowing, you messed with me anyway and you made me sin. It's your fault, not my fault. You got me into this. You did this to me. You just don't like me. You have it out against me. You're the one who cursed me. You're the one who doesn't want me to be forgiven. And because you did this to me, I'm going to do this to these human beings that you love so much. So the first part of that is blaming Allah. And because in his response, you could see, first he refused to do sajda. That was a distance away from Allah. Then he took another step and he said, well, I'm better. Another step away from Allah. That's an act of arrogance. But now he's taken a huge step away from Allah. When he says, no, not only am I not wrong, you're the one who's wrong. You're the one who did wrong to me. Now he's blaming Allah. He's taking even another step. Guess what he's going to do with humanity? He's going to come to each one of us, and first he's going to make us disobey Allah. And then we all disobey Allah at some point. We're not perfect. We're going to make mistakes. But that's one thing. But then and maybe one time you make a mistake, you feel bad, you ask Allah to forgive, you repent, you cry, you feel guilt inside you. That just makes you human, and that makes you like Adam alayhi salam. But he comes and makes you sin again, and convinces you to sin again, convinces you to sin again. And the next time, he adds another worse step that takes you, it's way worse than the sin. Sin is bad, but something way worse is when you start justifying it. It's way worse. When you start giving a logical explanation for why you sinned. Well, I was under a lot of pressure, or I did this, or I had this reason or that reason. You don't understand what I was going through. I was really upset at the time. I have my reasons. When you start doing that, you're being like the devil. He's taking another step away. Taba'ada, shatana. Another step away from Allah. But the worst of it all is someone keeps going down a road of sin, and then when you say, why are you going down this road? You say, Allah wants it this way. If Allah wanted, I would have been a better person. I don't even know why He hates me so much. God just doesn't like me. What has He done for me? And you find people that have now drowned themselves in sin, now speaking about Allah in that way, exactly the step-by-step procedure Shaitan took to take another step, before he's an infinite number of miles away from Allah. This is taba'ada. And all of this out of his rage. Fueled by the fuel of this vehicle is his rage. So he will want that for humanity. And so he says now to Allah, you're the reason. You're the cause. And you know what? Not only do I want to get away from this, from my road to Allah, but he says, لَأَقْعُدَنَّ عَلَى صِرَاطِكَ الْمُسْتَقِيمِ. He promises to Allah, لَأَقْعُدَنَّ لَهُمْ صِرَاطَكَ الْمُسْتَقِيمِ. I promise to you, and I swear to you, and I swear to you, and I swear to you. This is called lam al-tawqid and nun thaqila in grammar. What that means is, it's really hard to translate in English. An easy English translation would be, I will sit waiting for them. That would be an easy English translation. But qu'ud actually means to sit somewhere waiting in ambush for an enemy. Qu'ud and a maq'ad in Arabic is where you sit waiting to ambush your enemy. You know how like cops sometimes pull in behind the bushes on the highway, waiting for you to speed? That's qu'ud. That's actually qu'ud, okay? وَقْعُدُوا لَهُمْ كُلَّ مَقْعَدْ, Quran says. كُلَّ مَرْصَد actually. A place of ambush. But anyway, the idea of qu'ud is to sit somewhere a long time. And qu'ud is different from julus. If I sat on this chair and got up, that's julus. But if I was in qu'ud, I would take my time. So he's got all the time in the world. If you're not messing up, he's okay. He's like, oh, I'll get you eventually. I'm waiting. He's studying you. إنهم يرونكم هو وقبيله من حيث لا ترونهم. He and his minions are constantly watching you, surveying you from places you can't imagine. They're studying your behavior. They're looking at how you respond to things. They look at what upsets you, what makes you happy, what makes you slip, and then they use that against you. You're literally the psychological subjects of these devils. And so he promises Allah the strangest promise. He says, I will wait for them. I will wait there for them. I swear to you, I will wait, and I will wait. Where? On your path that is straight. On your straight path. Sometimes people ask the question, I understand when disbelievers mess up. I understand when people who don't believe in God are drinking and clubbing and adultery and all this other stuff. I get it. But I don't understand why people that look religious, act religious, talk religious, they know Quran, they've memorized, they're wearing hijabs, they just came from Hajj. And look at what they're doing. Look at how they're talking. Look at how they're behaving. These are supposed to be good people, and look at how they're messing up. Guess who he comes after more than anyone else? He's bothered by people that are on this path. And he waits to attack you. And when he fails, he moves down 1 mile and says, okay, when you pass this mile marker, maybe I'll get you then. And when you make him fail again, he moves ahead and waits for you again. And you keep going down this path, and he will come at you and come at you and come at you. You know, people that haven't changed for Allah, people that are still in sin, they look at someone who's trying to change and say, you're a good person. You know, Allah made it easy for you. Allah didn't make it easy for anyone. The devil comes to everyone. It doesn't matter if you're praying 5 times a day. It doesn't matter if you're in tahajjud every single night. It doesn't matter if you do hajj every single year. It doesn't matter if you recited the entire Quran and you recite it over and over and over again. That will never make you immune from the devil waiting for you and coming at you and coming at you and coming at you. And he doesn't attack people the same way. You know, when you study your enemy, you know, in sports, for example, what they do with teams, right? Before they have a match with a team, they study the strategy for that team. And the coach tells them, this is how we're going to do our offense, this is how we're going to do our defense against this team. They study their opponent very, very well. So the gameplay of a team is not the same depending on the opponent. Even in one-on-one sports like tennis and things like that, you get coached, this is how you handle this opponent, this is how you handle their serve, this is how you respond. This is exactly what the devil does. His attack is not the same for me as it is for you. He's not going to attack you the same way he attacks me. He will study you. Find out your weaknesses and come at you from your weaknesses. He'll study me, find out my weaknesses, come at me from my weaknesses. And he knows that Allah has given him that time where he can just sit back and just watch and study and observe, and then come and suggest, and then come and give whispers. And that too, all of it on Allah's straight path. So you know what we're learning? That the hardest thing to do is to actually take one step towards Allah. So the hardest thing to do. Not make 1,000,000 miles of progress. One step towards Allah. Because when you're about to take that one step, He goes, wait. You were my friend. Because when you're going in the other direction, you're the devil's friend. But if you turn towards Allah, you just became His enemy. You're the reason He got kicked out. He wants to prove that everybody can be His friend in hell. So when you turn around even a little bit, and you take even one step, the devil will come at you in every single possible way he can to dissuade you from turning back. I've even met people that say, everything is going smooth in my life until I start praying. When I start praying, problems start happening. All of a sudden my friends are mad at me. All of a sudden my health is going bad. All of a sudden I'm having this trouble or that trouble or the other trouble. So I'm just scared of praying because things just start messing up. I knew a scholar one time who, his mother was Christian. And she was thinking, I mean, he kept inviting her to Islam, and he's old himself, and his mother's very old, and he keeps inviting her to Islam, inviting her to Islam, inviting her to Islam, and she's not ready to leave. And one time she decides that she's thinking about Islam, and she starts getting nightmares every night. Just literally nightmares every night. And every time she'd hold on to the crucifix and then go to sleep, the nightmares disappear. The devils know that you're taking a step, and they've got to come at you. They've got to make sure you go back and be their friend. So he says, I will sit there waiting like a roadblock on your straight path. But then how is he convincing us to turn away? In these few minutes that I have left, I want to give you a picture of what's coming in the next khutbahs. He says to Allah, ثُمَّ لَآتِيَنَّهُم مِّن بَيْنِ أَيْدِيهِمْ وَمِنْ خَلْفِهِمْ وَعَنْ أَيْمَانِهِمْ وَعَنْ شَمَائِلِهِمْ. He says, I will attack them from 4 directions. I will attack them from the front. I will attack them from behind. I will attack them from the right, and I will attack them from the left. From the front, from behind, from the right, and from the left. Now, that could just mean I'm going to attack him for all sides. But Allah's words are very precise. Allah's words are very precise. Each one of these is a strategy of the devil. He has a different kind of attack from the front, a different kind of attack from the right, a different kind of attack from the left, a different kind of attack from behind. And so we're going to take our time going through each of these attacks. But before we get into those attacks, I'll just tell you one goal that he has. Each of these attacks, how does he know that his attacks are successful? That's the goal. At least today, that's what I want to inform you of. How will he know that his attack has succeeded? وَلَا تَجِدُ أَكْثَرَهُمْ شَاكِرِينَ. You will not find that most of them are grateful. If he can attack you, and by the end of that attack, you are no longer grateful to Allah. You're no longer grateful. You're pessimistic, and when someone's pessimistic, for example, they're not grateful, because to be grateful, you have to think about the good things. You can't think about bad things and be grateful. That's impossible. You can't say, Alhamdulillah. That's not Alhamdulillah. You have to think of the positive. You have to think of Allah's favors. You can't be grateful if you're in disobedience. How can you be grateful to Allah and show no loyalty to Him? What kind of gratitude is that? If He can figure out some way of making you and me ungrateful, then He's succeeded. You know what we're learning? His biggest problem was arrogance. His biggest problem was arrogance. And Allah is teaching us through these ayat that the biggest solution to arrogance is what? Being grateful. Being grateful. And He knows, so long as they're grateful, I won't get them. So long as they're thinking about my favors to them, Allah's favors to them, I won't get them. So long as they're positive and hopeful, I won't get them. So long as they have a good opinion of Allah, I won't get them. Because obviously we can't be grateful to Allah if we're angry with Allah. You can't be thankful to Him if you have bad thoughts about Him. So if I can just get rid of their gratitude, I've succeeded. And He will try to get rid of it from the front, from the right, from the left, and from the back. And these are the attacks that inshallah ta'ala we're going to try to explore in some detail. What does it mean that the devil is coming at you from the front? What does it mean that he's coming at you from behind? What does it mean that he's coming at you from the right and from the left? And inshallah ta'ala, as we study that, you have to ask yourself, maybe for you, the attack from the front is your problem. Maybe for your friend, the attack from the left is the problem. Maybe for another friend, the attack from behind is the problem. He won't get all of us the same way. He'll see, oh, this one didn't work, I'm going to try this side. Oh, that didn't work, I'm going to try the other side. Oh, that didn't work, this one got him. Okay, I'll stick with this one. I'll keep hammering him this way. You understand? This is why we have to study how is it that shaitan is going to ruin our journey along the straight path. May Allah Azza wa Jal keep us firm and committed to the straight path. Understand something now when you recite the Fatiha as I leave you. When you recite the Fatiha and you and I say, صِرَاطَ الَّذِينَ أَنْعَمْتَ عَلَيْهِمْ, the path of those you made ease for. One of the meanings of in'am is to make things easy. Taysir. In'am is also taysir. Nu'uma means softness. Allah is the only one. You know, they translate the path of those you blessed. Blessing is, ni'mah is part of the meaning. Nu'uma is also part of the meaning. Actually, the path of those, only you could have made the path easy for them. Because without you, the devil will make sure the path is hard, is impossible. So when we ask Allah, we don't just ask the path of good people, No, the path of those who you intervened and you made things easy for them. Without you making things easy and smooth for them, there is no way this road was going to be smooth, because until the day of judgment, shaitan is on that road. Shaitan and his minions are on that road waiting for you to be attacked. How can a road be easy when you're going to be attacked from every direction? Only when Allah will make that road easy. Only when you will be from those and I will be from those who He describes in the Fatiha, الَّذِينَ أَنْعَمْتَ عَلَيْهِمْ. It gives you a new appreciation of what you say when you stand in the prayer and you say صِرَاطَ الَّذِينَ أَنْعَمْتَ عَلَيْهِمْ. May Allah Azza wa Jal keep us committed to that path and accept our worship and save us from the whispers of the devil. Barakallahu li wa lakum. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi.
Hey guys, welcome back. So I hope that video ended up explaining things to you and that you took some good notes, so therefore you can be so you can use your mind and be heedful about what's going on and everything like that. And there's also other ways that can also happen, other ways that this can also be explained, and I will tell you later on in this video. I know it's already long, so I was already thinking about doing a part 2 and everything like that, but it might as well just probably be all in one video, you know? So let's move on. So when we take steps closer to the Creator, it doesn't mean you can be hard on yourself. When you become confident and being firm to yourself, then you don't have to worry about being hard on yourself, nor stressing over things. The people that are hard on themselves are in doubt about what they are capable of achieving and doing. When they come into doubt, they're not sure about their actions or decision making of what to do. And most importantly, they will have doubts about someone helping them. If you're suspicious about someone, doesn't mean to doubt them, but listen to where they are trying to get at. I'm not saying trust everyone, but to see if a person is trying to help you, they'll give you what you need, not what you want. Truth isn't a want. In fact, it is a need. So, just like my truth vibration video. And I think my evil inclination video talked something about the truth. But it was actually needs and wants. I hope it was actually that one. So let's move on. When people are hard on themselves, their answers or actions will be, I don't know, should I? Nothing is helping me. Let's see and wait what will happen, or I'm confused. Since they doubt and is unsure of their actions or choice makings, when they take a random action, they'll become regretful and bitter afterwards, because they didn't have firmness, patience, and faith. First thing to do is ask the Creator for help and be patient. After that, think of the consequences, or even come to a conclusion of what is, not being inclined to do evil inclination. And so when we're hard on ourselves, we can't see the dangers and setbacks ahead of us. This leads to ungratefulness, not only but that we're not happy at the things we've achieved because we put our minds and ourselves on the clock. We feel as if we didn't do enough or learned enough because we're stuck at the same low vibration and that we were before, not getting any higher. Pardon me, because my baby cousin is literally right by me. So if you hear the noises, then that's him. Forgive me. So I wanted to explain the second paragraph here. Now, since their doubt is unsure, so like I said in the first beginning, is that we have a fog in our head, and especially when we're hard on ourselves. So we have a fog in our head, not seeing what's ahead of us. And so if you're confused about something, or if you don't know what to do, or you're in a decision making, think about the consequences. And being hard on yourself, you don't think about the consequences. So start thinking about the consequences, and then start reflecting, start bringing up Quran verses or ancient Hebrew Bible verses to say, okay, if I do this, what are the consequences? And then, ancient Hebrew Bible and the Quran will actually tell you the consequences. So if you be grateful, what are the consequences of being grateful? well, the hereafter, the Creator will be pleased, and more. And so, and then the other thing is about, okay, what about hypocrites? What happens if I become a hypocrite? Or, what if I just decided just a teensy bit to be a little bit hypocrite? Okay, then you reflect yourself, okay, what are the consequences? So in the Quran, the consequences of being a hypocrite is this, this, and this. And being a hypocrite, if you even do it just for a little bit on purposely, not an accident, but on purposely, then you will have consequences. But not only but that, you become much more of a bigger hypocrite if you even do it for a little bit now. People that accidentally does it, and some people end up saying something but forget. So but that's okay as well. Or some people that does it purposely, then it's like, okay, it can become bigger. And that's why we need to start realizing this very, very sooner. So next one.
Yeah.
Okay, so the reason to this is because you're so hard on yourself to the point you can't be grateful for what you've accomplished. You can't pull yourself back and be grateful. You always have to do something superior or so hardworking to make you feel like you did something. And even that doesn't satisfy you. So then again, ungratefulness. Maybe what will get you to get you at a higher vibration is when you don't think so low of yourself and not be in between two choices or being in the middle. You'll start to feel potential and strength arousing from you that will drive you to learn and become more firm with yourself. And on other people's mind, they'll look at you like, wow, he or she is really firm, but yet humbled and really pushing themselves to an extent without stress. When you feel like you're not doing enough, say to yourself, you okay. We say to yourself, I meant, because I think it's supposed to have like a apostrophe right here. And, yeah, okay. Like, I had to start remembering my English, y'all. Okay, so your is like, your. Okay, and then you are is like E. I think that's it. I don't think it's YOURA. I don't think that's it. So forgive me about that. But it's actually, I guess it's supposed to be you are doing enough, but I guess I'm just gonna delete this R right here. You are doing enough. You're just not being grateful at everything you achieve or about to achieve. It's hard to be grateful about something. Look around you and find things that'll make you become grateful. Now, people who decide to read this early and stuff like that, I'm pretty sure they're like, what is she trying to say? Like, is she meant, you are? Like, she has another R in there. So, sorry about that. I'm going to go ahead and apologize. But yes, if you can't find anything to be grateful about, look around you to find things to be grateful about. And that sometimes, if I can't find anything to be grateful about or what I accomplish or anything like that, then I start thinking about, well, I got my Quran, especially I got my Quran and everything like that. Well, I'm doing what I need to do, so I feel grateful about that. I made it on time for prayer. I'm grateful for that. So start building yourself up. And if you can't do that, then start remembering the favors of the Creator, like in the past, how the Creator helped you and everything like that. And sometimes doing that, we come to realize that, oh wow, I didn't know that the Creator did that. I'm grateful for that. That can also help with gratefulness. So I'm just gonna delete these real quick. And let's go to the next. We need to be free from doubts and our ways of thinking that put us at a low vibration. Living in our purpose is a very high vibration experience. Not only but that the trials and tests to get where we need to be. What we learn can benefit so many people. To find our purpose and our name meaning, start by learning the ancient texts like Hebrew and Aramaic. So I won't go further into that because I want you guys to, find out yourself. I can't always give you the answers, but I will give you like a hint, so therefore you can explore. Because if I end up telling you, then you're gonna be like, oh yeah, okay. So, sorry about that. You're gonna be like, oh okay, well she already told me, so I just give you like little hints and clues here and there. Um, Sometimes I tell you, sometimes I don't. So you gotta be very mindful about what I'm gonna say and everything like that. So it's like really trying to pay attention. So, but we can't do that if we're hard on ourselves, if we're not living in our purpose, finding the truth. As reading this, being hard on yourselves comes with so many levels that you probably did not know. I'm pretty sure that that's more out. There's more. I'm pretty sure there's more out there, but hopefully you'll come to realize what I'm talking about and improve on this matter. Because every devil has a way to get us far from the Creator and our souls. That's if we let them to do it. That's why. That's why we have to have faith and more. As you can see, I put an extra word in there because as you can see, that's why we have faith and more. That's why we need to have faith and more. That's why we need to have faith and more. Yeah, hopefully you guys know what I mean. But please take action and manage yourself well, even though things may seem to be hard, but they're really not that bad as it may seem to be. Now, I know that's hard to swallow right there because people will say, well, hey, your problem's not that bad. But people are like, what do you know? You're not going through the same thing that I've been through. And it's like saying you have no rights to say that whatever my problems I'm going through is easy. But actually solving the problem is actually easy. So just because you're going through a problem that seems very difficult and hard, whether you brung it on yourself or not, there's actually a solution that is very easy to that problem. And then things will come very easy. So the difficult can become easy. Okay, I have a few videos to show you to back up my statement. But thank you for sticking around or coming back to finish watching the rest of my video. This means a lot to me, especially if you're benefiting from my videos. If not, please let me know. Please let me know how I may help you or any personal questions you have. I'll be gladly to help you the best way I can. Bye, Ultra Soul Vibration Instinct. It's kind of weird how I'm like saying that when it's like so. Yes, I do have some couple of videos when the devil attacks head on. Now, I wanted to also tell you that the things that he says is very, 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 very important. Now, some things he's put in a religion's term, like if he brings up, religion, like wearing something around your head. I forgot what's that called? A hijab, yes, a hijab. Stuff like that. Some things are like what he says is very religious, but I do want to tell you to not to look beyond the religion and look what he's actually trying to say. And I hope you guys very benefited from my video, and I will be seeing you in the next maybe Ramadan video or my other video that's going to be a very surprise video that I'm not going to tell you. I ran out of breath, so I had to go a high pitch right there. So I will see you guys later, and I thank you for sticking around. And so let's get straight to the video.
Today's khutbah is dedicated to two of the attacks of the devil. We've been talking about the story of creation for a few weeks now, and I'm going to continue that as the ayat of Surah Al-A'raf continue. I would also encourage you on your own time to read Surah number 7. It's not that far in. This is the ayat in the teens. So when you start the surah, by the time you get to the 26th ayah, that's where the story is. right? Even before then. So it's not a lot of reading, and it'd be interesting for you and beneficial for you to start reading and even start asking questions of your own or writing contemplations of your own in your notes as you read the Quran, because that's something we're supposed to do. One of the things Allah Azza wa Jal mentions in Quran about our relationship with the Quran is He calls it ayatun lis-sa'ilin. These are ayat for people who ask questions. So one of the things that we're supposed to do with the Quran is actually wonder, what could be the guidance that I can get from these words of Allah, or this statement of Allah, or this ayah, or this story, or this event, or this particular word even, right? Because everything Allah gave us is for the purpose of guiding us. And we're not going to get that, just like in class, students who sit in a class and never ask any questions are the ones that benefit the least. But the student who sits in a class and asks the teacher questions is actually the one whose mind is the most engaged, and they're the ones who develop their understanding the best. So we accept Allah as our teacher, Allama al-Quran. We become students, so we become people that ask questions, and that's something that we should be doing. In any case, today I want to talk to you about the 2 attacks of the 4 attacks that are mentioned of the shaitan. He says that I will absolutely, after he sits on the straight path that we talked about last time, that I swear to it that I will absolutely come at them and attack them from right in front of them, min bayni aydihim. And then he says, وَمِنْ خَلْفِهِمْ, and from behind them. So those are the 2 attacks I want to talk to you about this week. And next week, inshallah, I'll talk to you about how he attacks from the right and how he attacks from the left. But today, the front and from behind. So let's talk about what's ahead. The Arabic words, min bayni aydihim, right in front of their hands. That's literally the translation. We translate that in English often as in front of them. But actually, it means a lot more than that. In the Arabic language, of course, if you extend your hands out like this, what's immediately between your hands is what's immediately in front of you. It's right in front of you. It's not something far away. It's right there and it's hitting you right in you have to go around it. You know, it's unavoidable. And so he says, basically, let me put it in common vernacular, I'm just going to get right in their face. I'm going to be right there in front of them and I'll attack them head on. Now, how do these attacks work? You see, shaitan is invisible. We don't see him and we don't hear his voice. We don't know what he looks like. We don't know any of these things. So how does he attack us from the front? The idea of, if you study the phrasing, what is in front of them in the Quran, you learn something. You learn that it's talking about things that you see every day. When you open your eyes, what is right in front of you is the world around you. Your family, friends, the world as you see it, things that attract you, things that you don't find attractive. This is the world in front of you. And human beings have this tendency to be impulsive. Allah says in Surah Al-Qiyamah, بَلْ يُرِيدُ الْإِنسَانُ لِيَفْجُرَ أَمَامَهُ, that human beings want to just explode, jump right into things that are in front of them. When I was studying marketing so long ago, we used to study consumer behavior. And you know what they do in grocery stores is they put eggs and milk all the way in the back of the grocery store. The reason they do that is they want you to go through a number of aisles, because you only came in for milk and eggs. Most customers come in just for milk and eggs. So you logically would be right in the front, but they want it all the way in the back because they want you to be impulsive and see them Swiss rolls or chocolate cake or this or that and keep piling it in because you see something in front of you and you just throw it right in. That's a human impulse. Allah put that inside human beings. Shaitan wants to capitalize on that. There are things that come right in front of you and he says, come on, just enjoy yourself a little. It's not that bad. It's not so bad. He doesn't want you to think about the future consequences of something. He wants you to think about what's immediately in front of you right now. You know, it's so much more understandable now because we live in a digital age. Whatever you want to look at, whatever you want to see, whatever you want to hear, whatever you want to order is right at the tip of your fingers. It's immediately accessible. It's not even so far. Physically, if you want to go somewhere, you just hop in your car and go somewhere. You can make a decision to follow whatever impulse, whatever desire, whatever thought comes in your head, and you just immediately run after it, and you don't think about the consequences. You know, a lot of people that engage in sin, if you ask them, why do you want to engage in sin? They don't say that I want to be a sinful person, I just don't want to think about it. I don't want to think about it. And if you try to make them think about the consequences of this behavior, then don't talk to me about that, you know? I've often spoken to you about doctors that I know that work in the emergency room and the kinds of things they see on Friday night. People just want to get away from their troubles, knock down a couple of drinks, and then the kinds of horrendous things you see in the emergency room, so much of it related to alcohol, so much of it related to overconsumption. Why? Because those people don't want to think that alcohol has destroyed so many lives before you and me, but I don't want to think that that's going to happen to me. I just want to have fun right now. I just want to get the buzz right now. That's all I care about right now. The consequences I'm not concerned with. This is the first thing shaitan wants. What is right in front of you, he'll attack you by making you not think about the consequences of things. The other meaning of what is right in front of us is material things. In other words, he wants us to be obsessed with things that we can see. You're just thinking about this car constantly, constantly, constantly. You're thinking about your appearance, checking yourself out in the mirror. That's all you're always thinking about is how do I look? How do I look? How do I look? How much do I weigh? Or, am I dressed better than this one or that one? You're constantly just obsessed with material, appearance, goods, products, people obsessed with the kinds of brands that they're going to wear, what they're going to show off to somebody, obsessed with the idea, oh man, I'm living in an apartment, I'd have to get a house. It's so embarrassing, I live in an apartment, I have to, by whatever means, I got to get into a house because that's what's in front of me. You drive by a nice neighborhood where you see the houses and the car just automatically slows down and you just kind of, your mind goes in your head, you're already living in there, And he wants you to be obsessed with that. Now, wanting those things in and of itself isn't bad. And that, before I continue, is an important part of this khutbah. Please pay attention to this. In Surah An-Nas, Allah told us about the devil, الَّذِي يُوَسْوِسُ فِي صُدُورِ النَّاسِ. That he whispers, it's translated, he whispers into the chests of people. He whispers into the chests of people. The thing about the word chest in the Arabic language is that it's actually used also for emotions. Like Allah says, وَيَشْفِي صُدُورَ قَوْمٍ مُؤْمِنِينَ, to heal the chest of a believing people. What that means is, when Allah uses the word chest, He's actually also referring to our emotions. Our feeling. Anger is part of the chest. Fear is part of the chest. Love is part of the chest. Greed is part of the chest. All of those feelings that you and I experience every day. When we're attracted to something beautiful, that's in our chest. When we're turned away from something ugly, that's in our chest. Laziness is in our chest. Enthusiasm is in our chest. When Allah says He whispers into the chest, what it also means is He takes all of those emotions that Allah gave me and Allah gave you, and they're normal emotions. Anger, fear, happiness, all of these emotions are part of who we are. It's natural. But He uses them and manipulates them. He'll use your anger to mess you up. He'll use your happiness to mess you up. He'll use your laziness to mess you up. He'll use your sadness to mess you up. In a certain degree, you need those feelings. But He knows what He can do to manipulate you and to get you to start feeling things that you're not supposed to be feeling, and to overrun you. And so, of course, everybody's attracted to something beautiful. Who wouldn't want to live in a beautiful house? As a matter of fact, the fact that Allah offers us in in heaven, He offers us mansions and He offers us beautiful gardens and waterfalls. Why would we be attracted to that stuff if we're not interested in it now? It's the fact that Allah made us attracted to those things now is what makes heaven so appealing, right? So those things that are beautiful, us attracted to them is natural. What does shaitan want to do? He wants to take that feeling out of balance. I will do anything I can to get it. I don't care about the consequences. It's in front of me. I want it right now. Let me give you an analogy to help you understand this as opposed to what Allah is offering. If somebody came to you and made you an offer. Look, I have a house. Here's a picture. Beautiful mansion. It's the most beautiful house, and it's in front of the beach, and it's on top of a cliff. It's got this gorgeous view. It's exactly the kind of interior you wanted, exactly the kind of exterior you wanted. Everything you ever wanted is there in that house. And he says, this house is worth a few million, but I'm willing to sell it to you for $200. First of all, you won't believe it. That's no way you're going to sell me that for $200. But then he furthers the offer. He says, listen, it's guaranteed. I'm giving it to you for $200, but the only thing is, you can have it after 15 years. You can't have it right now. So I need the $200 now, but you can have it after 15 years. Okay? There's no way you'd take that deal. It's a scam. But basically, that's what Allah is offering. He says, here's heaven. Doesn't take much to get in it. I'm not asking for a lot, but you can't go now. You can't go now. And the devil comes along and says, look, I'm not giving you a mansion in heaven. I'll give you much less. But the thing is, I'll give it to you right now. It's cheap. Just do it right now. It's much easier. You don't have to pay anything to me. And he'll just make the immediate cash offer. Those of you that are in business, when somebody comes to you and says, hey, I want to buy your product, but I'll make the payment next month. Somebody else comes to you and says, I want to buy your product, but I'll pay you cash. Right now, give me 10% discount. You'll take the cash? Because I don't want to wait for another month. Human beings, تُحِبُّونَ الْعَاجِلَةَ. We want things that come quickly. Shaitan capitalizes on that. He excites your feelings and says, why do you have to wait? Why do you have to be patient? Why can't you have what you want right now? Don't you want to be happy? He comes at you right in front of you and you can't see anything but what you desire, what you want. And it blinds you to the point where you just don't want to think about what's going to happen afterwards, what damage it will do to others, what damage it will do to yourself. You're just completely led on by him. That's actually one of the great attacks of shaitan from the front, from right in front. He glazes your eyes over. And then Allah Azza wa Jal describes, about min bayni aydihim is about the future. If something is right in front of you, like for example, when you're driving on the road and you get stuck in traffic and there's a truck right in front of you, you don't know how bad the traffic is. You can't even look around it because it's so big. Your view is completely blocked. When something is in front of you, you can't look ahead. That's one of the things shaitan wants. What is actually ahead of you and me is meeting with Allah. It's unavoidable. You and I, كَادِحٌ إِلَىٰ رَبِّكَ كَدْحًا فَمُلَاقِيهِ. We are marching towards your master. You and I are marching towards him. It's like even if you're standing there, you're on a conveyor belt that's heading towards Allah. Whether you like it or not, whether you want to accept that or not, we're all heading that way with every breath that we take. And that meeting is unavoidable. But he doesn't want you to see that. He doesn't want you to see, and he doesn't want me to see that with every passing day, we are now closer to meeting Allah than we were yesterday. And then tomorrow we're even closer. And then tomorrow we're even closer. All he wants you to think about when it comes to the future is not meeting with Allah, but meeting with your friends. Meeting with some vacation, meeting up with some good times. What's going to happen this weekend? What are we doing next weekend? He wants you to think about the future with what's right in front of you, but not the long term. Not the long term. And even people, then they start thinking long term, like, yeah, I'm thinking long term. I'm thinking about home ownership, or I'm thinking about where I'm going to move, or I'm thinking about my future education. That's long term thinking. But actually, Allah wants you to have even longer term thinking, when you and I are going to stand in front of him. And when you do that, just like when you have a plan, if a young man among you or young woman among you is going to the university and you plan to graduate in 2 years, then you're going to seriously think about which courses you're going to take this semester, which ones are you going to take next semester, how many credits do you have, can you slack off, can you do this, how much time you plan everything out. Because if you want to get to that destination, you need a plan. You need to stay on target. And if you're falling off, then you have to do extra to make up for it. But if you have no vision in front of you, and you have students like that, they go to university, they don't care about graduating. They're super seniors. They're in school for 10 years, they're still taking courses. What's your major? I'm still thinking about it. You have gray hair now, you're still thinking about your major? There are people with no direction. That's what the devil wants in life. He wants you to have no direction. There is no goal in front of you. And that goal that Allah set in front of us is meeting with him. And when that goal is in front of you, every decision you make, you first say, is that going to mess me up when I meet with him or not? I have to take Allah's questioning and Allah's meeting into consideration before I take my next step. But if he can make that invisible, then the thought doesn't even occur to me. It doesn't even occur to you. You just do whatever you want. The thought about Allah is gone because he attacked you from the front, blinding your view of what is actually coming ahead of us. What is also ahead of us is our anxiety and our fear. Shaitan wants that you worry about the future. That you just keep worrying. What's my son going to do? Is he going to rebel? What's my daughter going to do? What's my husband going to do? What's my wife going to do? And you keep worrying about other people and what they're going to do and how they're going to feel. Like you're in charge of them or you're in control of them. We're barely in control of ourselves. But we think we can control what everybody else around us is going to do and what their future is going to be, and we want to control their future. You'll have a mother dying every day. Why isn't my daughter who's married, why isn't she having a baby? When is she going to have a baby? When is she going to have a baby? And she's calling her and saying, Allah wants you to have a baby. Allah doesn't want her to have a baby. You want her to have a baby. I don't know what email you got from Allah that you told her. But this is in your mind, you just want these anxieties, worldly things that you want is all you think about for the future. I don't have it, I just worry about it, I don't know why I don't have it, and you're just consumed by that, completely consumed by that. It could be the most innocent of things, but shaitan wants you to be that way because when you do that, you're not happy with what Allah has given you, number one, and you easily forget that the one in charge is Allah. And the one in control over everyone is Allah. I am actually not in charge of my children. Once they get to a certain age, what they do is between them and Allah. All I can be is an advice. That's all I can do. But their decisions are going to be theirs. If our Messenger ﷺ can turn to his daughter and say, Ya Fatima bint Muhammad, ittaqillah fa inni la amliku laki min Allahi shay'a. Fatima, daughter of Muhammad, be mindful of God yourself, because I won't have any control when it comes to standing in front of Allah. I won't be able to help you. That's what he tells his own daughter. So how do you and I think we have control over others, even within our family? He wants us to think we're in charge, and and that's actually something only Allah has the right to. But he consumes our minds with it. And of course, when you try to control people, it backfires. It never works. You can never control people. You can't control people. And when you can't control people, you get even more anxious, and you get negative constantly. And when you become negative constantly, it's impossible for you to be grateful. Look at how the ayah is going to end. وَلَا تَجِدُ أَكْثَرَهُمْ شَاكِرِينَ. You're not going to find most of them grateful, because they're going to be negative all the time. They're going to be anxious about the future all the time. What's going to happen to my job? What's going to happen with my money? Where's this going to come from? Where's that going to come from? What's going to happen to the health? What's going to happen to the kids? What's going to happen to this or that or the other? What if they find out? What if this happens? What if this one says this? What if that one does that? And you're just so overwhelmed by these petty things that you forget that Allah controls the future, that Allah owns it, not you, not me. And the fact that we had even a good, peaceful day, one moment, was not because we earned it or we planned it or we controlled it. It's Allah who gives relief. Every single day, that's Allah who gives relief. The fact that our bodies are still functioning and we're sitting here in the Friday prayer is Allah giving us relief, Allah giving us ability. And we forget that, and we think that we have to figure all the future out. We have to control all the outcomes. And that's one of the things Shaitan wants, is to make you confused about thinking that you have something to do with the future. One of the greatest tricks of the Shaitan is to make you pessimistic about the future. Nothing's going to work out, it's all going to be bad, nothing ever worked anyway, it's always going to fail. You become so negative that not only are you negative about your own self, your negativity becomes infectious. Even people around you. Somebody's happy about something, somebody graduated, you're like, yeah, but you're not really going to get a job. You just have to throw in some kind of negative, because, just our luck. Runs in the family, don't worry about it. And this is the pessimism of the devil. He wants that from you, because if a person is pessimistic, then how can they have pessimism and hope in Allah? How can they have pessimism and reliance in Allah? Then with what heart are they making dua to Allah? If they've already accepted defeat inside, then nothing's going to work out. Then they have no expectation from Allah. Then they're the most essential relationship we have with Allah, which is that of asking Him, having hope in Him. You cut that off. You're hopeless. And what is Shaitan by definition? He's hopeless. By definition, he's hopeless. And he wants you to become hopeless. These are his attacks from the front. He also wants you to become, human beings are meant to be goal-driven. This is, again, attacks from the front. We're taking a lot of time. Even though if I don't cover the attacks from behind, that's okay. I want to take my time with this, because I want us to understand how he gets to us, right? So, human beings are meant to be goal-driven. Like, people do pay thousands of dollars to attend seminars to self-help, Tony Robbins type stuff, right? Because they want to be driven, and you want to accomplish, and you want to have goals ahead of you, and you want to, be self-disciplined, and that kind of thing. And these are good things. These are actually very powerful things. But you know what he does? He makes you set your goals. And we give you an analogy first. When you take, mountain climbers, they take the rope and they throw the hook on top. If you threw your hook 20 feet high, that's as high as you'll ever go. If you threw your hook 30 feet high, you'll get 30 feet high. Shaitan wants that you throw your hook very low. He just wants you to throw your hook up to money. If I have this much money, I'll be good. And that's all you're thinking about is this goal. I want to accomplish this goal. I want to accomplish this goal. Like as if you accomplish that goal, everything's going to work out. This is going to be amazing once I get to that goal. And what happens? Once you even get near that goal or get to that goal, there's 30 other problems you never saw before. He just wants you to be consumed with lesser goals and be driven, so immersed in them that you see nothing else. You see, you and I are supposed to be goal-driven. I should have goals about my health. I should have goals about my career. I should have goals about my education. But understand something. Those goals are never actually your actual purpose. They are only means to a larger end. If you and I forget that we are on this earth for a limited time, and our purpose here was not to get a job. Our purpose here was not to make money. Our purpose here was not to get a house, because we're going to leave all that stuff behind. Our purpose here was to actually do some kind of good. Do some kind of good for ourselves and do a kind of good that will live longer than we live. That's the purpose for which we were put on this earth. And if you have that in mind, and then your education is leading you to do something good, your house is leading you to do something good, your car is leading you to do something good, then those things have a purpose. Those things in and of themselves are not a purpose. But shaitan wants to take those things and make them your purpose. Man, my goal is I got to get the 2019, that car. I got it all figured out. That is my goal. It's not really a goal. That's just a thing. And that thing is just one car accident away from being gone. That's all it is. That thing that you're so obsessed with, that house, is just one earthquake away. It's one fire away. What are these things? These things come and they go. ضَعُفَ الطَّالِبُ وَالْمَطْلُوبُ. But he wants us to be immersed and obsessed with those things. This is what shaitan wants. So we don't realize that Allah has made us very meaningful, purposeful creatures. He wants us to lose sight of our purpose by attacking us from the front. And finally, this last bit of how shaitan gets us from ahead of us, there's one thing that all of us have ahead of us. Maybe some of you have a lot of money ahead of you, Allah knows. Maybe some of you have a lot of major challenges coming ahead of you, only Allah knows. Maybe some of you have great happiness ahead of you, Allah knows. We don't know. But there's one thing ahead of all of us, and that's time. Maybe some of us have a few seconds. Maybe some of us have a few years. Maybe some of us have a few decades. But one thing for sure, we all have time. Little or more, we have time. When shaitan comes and attacks from the front, he wants you to have no respect for your time. He wants you to think you have all the time in the world. There's no urgency, the only urgency is for your desires. But there's no urgency to do anything meaningful in life. As a matter of fact, anything meaningful that comes, he says, you got time. Exactly what happens to you and me with every prayer. Dhuhr time comes. You're in the middle of something. Dhuhr time comes. Your phone goes off. Your watch goes off. Your computer goes off. The automatic adhan, you put it on pause immediately. Okay. And then you say, I got time. For the video game, immediately. For the next episode on Netflix, immediately. For salah, I got time. I got time. You're about to sit, you have some free 20 minutes. You got nothing to do in between classes at the university, right? And you've got a copy of the Quran in your bag. You could just open that up. Like, later though. I'll do it, but a little later. But anything frivolous, useless, pointless, just sit and just scroll through Instagram or Facebook or just look at what other people are posting on their Snapchat, and 40 minutes will go by. You'll even be late for class. You made time. He wants you to have no respect for your time. He wants you to throw it away frivolously. Get rid of it frivolously. And it's actually incredible because what's ahead of you, your future, you will ruin it by wasting your time. And when you're done wasting it, you'll look back and say, man, I wasted so much time, and you become even more hopeless. You know, that's the game that he plays with us. So that's his attack from the front, these multiple attacks from the front. And I pray Allah Azza wa Jal makes us mindful of these attacks that the devil has against us from ahead of us. And may Allah Azza wa Jal not ever let us become people who don't see things for what they are. Allahumma arini wa arina haqiqat al-ashya'i kama hiya. The Prophet ﷺ said, oh Allah, I want you to show me the reality of things as they really are. This is my last bit of advice to you. How do we fight this attack of the devil? Of course, you have to recognize it. But you have to constantly refresh. And I have to constantly refresh in myself reality of things. You know, just like we're in the modern world, so I can give you a tech example. You see an app, and the app has a skin, it has a look and feel, it has color, a menu, whatever. But that's actually not the app. There's a source code behind it. You don't see the code. You don't actually see the functionality. You just see the front, right? The thing is, everything you see in front of you is just a skin. It's just a cover. There's a reality behind it. There's an engine behind it. There's a purpose and meaning behind it. The problem is we start giving value to things at face value. We don't actually look at what's behind them that actually has the value. And that's what Quran does. Quran doesn't let us see with these eyes. There's another set of eyes here. لَهُمْ أَعْيُنٌ لَا يُبْصِرُونَ بِهَا. They have eyes they don't see with them. Meaning they don't see reality with them. They just see the shallow things in front of them. There's an eye we have to develop for what really is, what really has meaning, what really has purpose. And when that happens, the way you spend your time, the way you think about things, the way I value things, the way I prioritize things, all of that starts changing. Because at the end of the day, this entire life that we have left, these few breaths that we have left until we go and meet with Allah, all of it will boil down to one thing. يُنَبَّأُ الْإِنسَانُ يَوْمَئِذٍ بِمَا قَدَّمَ وَأَخَّرَ. The human being will be informed on that day, what did you make priority and what did you make secondary? That's all it boils down to. Every single choice you and I make. What was a priority? What could wait? What was a priority? What's less important? That's all it is. And that's all Shaitan wants to mess up what's coming ahead of us. He'll make us think about the wrong priorities. And he'll make us put aside what is actually important. May Allah Azza wa Jal make us of those who put the priorities in the right place and don't allow صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي آمين يا رب العالمين. Today is my final khutbah on the series of the attacks of the devil and the dialogue that he had with Allah Azza wa Jal against the children of Adam alayhi salam. I want to remind myself that in the last couple of years, as I start reviewing the Quran again, I've decided to stop at places that I normally don't pay as much attention to. And this is one of those places. You pass by it and you read that the devil will attack from all sides, and you just keep moving on, and you just kind of don't stop and think about that. And so I've decided to pay attention to places in the Quran that easily, at least for myself, get overlooked, and to try to highlight that for my own benefit, and inshallah ta'ala for your benefit as well. I think it's important to note that this is the ultimate battle and the ultimate conflict that humanity will engage in since its birth all the way to the last day. Our ultimate enemy is Shaitan, and there's no greater enemy that we have. And every other enemy that we have is only an agent of the Shaitan. Is only furthered or fueled by a Shaitan. And in these few ayat, this relentless, permanent enemy of ours laid out his entire strategy. What is he going to do with us? How is he going to do it? How is he going to come at us? Every single one of us, until the end of time. And that's a pretty big deal. Now we know the game plan of the enemy, and Allah recorded it in the Quran. So it's not a small thing to just pass by. It's important to understand how is it that the devil is going to come at us in our lives at any moment of our lives and try to pull us into his way. Right? So which was my motivation for covering this in some depth. We've come to the last phrase of this ayah. The promise was that he will attack. He said, ثُمَّ لَآتِيَنَّهُمْ, I swear to it, I will absolutely come at them. I'll attack them from right in front of them, from behind them, from their right and from their left. And I've given khutbahs on each of those now. And this is the final comment that he makes. And that comment is, وَلَا تَجِدُ أَكْثَرَهُمْ شَاكِرِينَ. You will not find most of them grateful. You will not find most of them grateful. Now, this is an important phrase, and we have to see the guidance Allah Azza wa Jalla has embedded and infused inside of this phrase, and that's what this khutbah is dedicated to. Where I want to start, first and foremost, is the origin of the word. I translated shakirin as grateful. It comes from the word shukr, which can easily be translated as gratitude. But originally in the Arabic language, ash-shukur or ash-shakur min ad-dawa'ib, and some animals were called shakur. What kind of animal was called shakur? The kind of animal that eats a little bit and gets fat really quickly. Like it has a little bit of grass and it fills up. Similarly, shakra was used for the udder of a cow that immediately fills up with milk. So it gives more milk than expected. And the idea behind the origin of the word shukr is actually something small with a little bit of good, and that good swells and enhances to the point where it starts coming out. It pours out. And from it, the Arabs developed a notion of gratitude, meaning shukr. And there are other words for gratitude in Arabic, but this particular word highlights when you're grateful over something that may seemingly be small, but its effects are many. So you don't dismiss something that's done for you, and you're actually appreciative of what's done for you or the good that you have in not just one way, in many ways. And it multiplies inside you. Not only does it multiply inside you, you would think gratitude is a feeling, but it's more than a feeling, because according to Hassan Jabal in his commentary on the origin of the word, he says, وَالشُّكْرُ يَزِيدُ عَنِ الرِّضَى. Not just being happy with what you have, Not just being content with what we have. It's more than that. Now what's more than that? في معنى الظهور, meaning just like the milk pours out, or just like the sheep shows that it's grown more, the same way when you have shukr in you, not only do you appreciate something, it actually results in you doing something. It comes out. Your mood has changed. Your behavior has changed. You've even verbalized how grateful you are. You've actually said thank you. A lot of times you have family members and your father says to you, you never thank me for anything. You don't appreciate anything you do. I do. And you say, yeah, I do. I appreciate what you do. Yeah, but you never said it. I have shukr. No, shukr doesn't mean you have it in your head. It has to come out. It has to be said and stated and displayed. One of the names of Allah is actually Shakir. One of the names of Allah. Why? He appreciates what little His slaves do and He does so much for them. So shukr is not just a feeling, it's actually behavior also that comes from that feeling. It's not just a sentiment and an emotion that stays buried inside, it manifests itself. So that's the first thing I wanted to get out of the way in this khutbah, is just some of the origins of the meaning of the word gratitude and appreciation, and how it's supposed to be something that overwhelms a person. It's a very powerful thought that grows and grows and grows and swells inside of you. Now, the devil's promise is, you will not find most of them with gratitude. They're not going to have shukr, human beings. The first thing I want you to think about in terms of this conversation is Allah told shaitan, فَمَا يَكُونُ لَكَ أَن تَتَكَبَّرَ فِيهَا. When the devil refused to do sajda, when shaitan refused to do sajda, Allah told him, you have no right, it's not right for you to be arrogant here. The problem of the devil was arrogance. And that's the reason he got kicked out. فَخْرُجْ إِنَّكَ مِنَ الصَّاغِرِينَ. Get out of here. He was expelled because he was arrogant. Now, because he's angry at humanity, you expect that he would turn back to Allah and say, well, you kicked me out of here because I'm arrogant. I'm going to prove to you that they're arrogant. So they don't deserve this place either. But instead of telling Allah, oh, you think I'm arrogant? Let me show you how arrogant they are. He said, you think I'm arrogant? Once I'm done attacking them, I will prove to you, not that they're arrogant, but they're not grateful. لَا تَجِدُ أَكْثَرَهُمْ شَاكِرِينَ. So it's a switch. The switch is, if the complaint against the devil is that he's arrogant, then he should prove that I'm not that different from these guys. Look, they're arrogant too. But no, he says, I will prove that they are ungrateful. What Quran has done so strategically and so wisely here is that's actually shown us something. The opposite of arrogance, we think the opposite of arrogance is humility in the dictionary. The opposite of arrogance is what? Humility. But in the Quran, the opposite of arrogance is gratitude. So Allah has taught us a new opposite, you see. And so what we're learning now is, it is impossible for a human being to be arrogant if they are grateful. And if they are grateful, there's no way arrogance will hurt them. And the fact that arrogance occurs, that can only be a manifestation of a lack of shukr. If shukr was there, there's no way that would have happened. So that's the first important thing. When someone says, hey, at least I'm not arrogant, well, from the Quran's definition, don't just think about arrogance as someone who thinks very highly of themselves, or is full of themselves, or is mean towards others. You and I have to check ourselves, how grateful are we? Because if gratitude is missing, then arrogance is there. Because these are opposites in the Quran now. These have been placed against one another. The next thing that's important here, I kept telling you shaitan comes from 4 directions. And now we're learning, if his attack is successful, what's the goal? The goal is not for human beings to make a mistake. That's not his goal, that's not enough. Because Allah created the human beings programmed to make mistakes. كُلُّ بَنِي آدَمْ خَطَّاءُونَ. All children of Adam keep on making mistakes. That's what we do. Human beings are not made perfect. We're not angels, we have choice. We have shortcomings. As a matter of fact, I kept telling you, even when we do good deeds, they have shortcomings. Even when we make salah, it's not perfect. Even when we recite Quran, it's not perfect. Even when we do Hajj, it's not perfect. When we fast, it's not perfect. So we're imperfect by definition. So the fact that we have mistakes is no surprise. The devil's mission is not to get us to make a mistake. The devil's mission is clear in this ayah. Once I attack them from these directions, I will prove to you that they are not grateful. If he can get gratitude out of us as a result of our mistakes, then he's successful. That's actually his goal, to remove the sense of appreciation of Allah and to do things out of the appreciation and the shukr to Allah, our optimistic, feeling towards Allah. if you think about our relationship with Allah, for so many people, their relationship with Allah is based on fear. If you don't pray, Allah is going to burn you. If you don't do this, Allah is going to punish you. Your first impulse of your relationship with the one who made you is that you should be afraid of Him. And though fear is a part of my relationship with Him, the most powerful force inside me that should make me do something for Allah, like pray, like eat halal, like do the right thing, like stay away from evil deeds, is actually gratitude. Allah has done so much for me, the least I can do is these few things. If He can get rid of that feeling, shukr, if He can get rid of shukr, then even if I'm obeying Allah, my heart is missing something. It's not going to have what it really, really needs to be able to carry on. It is out of a sense of gratitude that we are in obedience to Allah. Which is why Fatiha, that calls us to Allah's worship, إِيَّاكَ نَعْبُدُ, begins with gratitude. Alhamdulillah is where it begins, and then we get to worship. Because that sense of appreciation of Allah is what drives us more than anything else. But really what I wanted to spend the majority of this khutbah on is these attacks again, and how each of them, we can be protected from those attacks if we are grateful. Now let me phrase that another way. He said to Allah, I will attack them from 4 sides, and I'll prove to you that they're not grateful. In other words, if they were grateful, these attacks wouldn't have worked. If they're actually grateful, then the attacks will fail. If they have shukr, they're not going to succeed. So though I've given you long explanations of each of those directions, I'm going to walk you through each of them again briefly and describe to you in simple terms, how if we can remember to be grateful to Allah, we can actually protect ourselves from the waswasa of shaitan. When he comes from the front, he attacks you and me from the front, he tempts us from what we can have. You see something in front of you, you're tempted by it, the greed. And what comes from the front is also your future. You start thinking about your future or worried about your future. Is this going to happen or is that going to happen? And sometimes you start making bad decisions, decisions that Allah won't be happy with because you're concerned about your future. If you and I have shukr inside us, deep gratitude of Allah inside us, then we know that if you look back in your past, how many times has Allah provided for you? How many times have you been and I've been in a problem and Allah has taken care of us all this time? Why do you think that all of a sudden now Allah will not take care of you? In other words, whatever temptation comes to you from the front, if you and I can learn to be grateful for what we have and not go towards something more than what we need, not let our greed get in the way, not let our reliance of Allah go away, but be grateful, He's taken care of me this far, why would He leave me now? This is the same thing Allah said to His Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, مَا وَدَّعَكَ رَبُّكَ وَمَا قَلَى. Allah didn't abandon you. Just because you're going through a hard time and you see something in front of you that you might just grab onto and take it because you're desperate, no. وَوَجَدَكَ ضَالًّا فَهَدَى وَوَجَدَكَ عَائِلًا فَأَغْنَى. You were in desperate need, He provided you before. He reminds him. Your past should remind you how grateful we should be even in times of crisis, which is why, this is the key here, if you're tempted by something that comes in front of you, أَمَّا بِنِعْمَةِ رَبِّكَ فَحَدِّثْ, then actually be grateful to Allah by talking about the favor Allah has done for you. This is what Yusuf alayhi salam did. Yusuf alayhi salam was tempted by that minister's wife. She tried to seduce him. What was his immediate response? مَعَاذَ اللَّهِ إِنَّهُ رَبِّي أَحْسَنَ مَثْوَايَ. My master has been really good to me. First he sought Allah's protection and immediately he said, Allah has been good to me, meaning he was shakir, he was grateful immediately. And that protected him. If you can, you can acknowledge the favor of Allah on you, then the attacks that come from the front, you'll be able to stay away from them. The attacks from behind are scarier though. The attacks from behind are like I described to you before, sometimes people were living in a life of sin. They were doing things they weren't supposed to do. And Allah pulled them out. Maybe it happened last Ramadan, maybe it happened last Jumu'ah, maybe it happened 2 hours ago, I don't know. But Allah pulled you out of sin. And you feel the burden lift from inside you. That's a feeling only you know, nobody else, you can't even describe it to anybody else. You can feel the tears rolling down your eyes because Allah has pulled you into light again. And He's removed darkness from you. And the evil that you felt that was weighing on you has been taken away from you. Now you're in a sense of relief that Allah has actually given you this gift, that He's able to get you away from a life of evil, from a sin. Now that you have that for a while, the devil comes back and says, hey, want to go back? He tries to pull you back again. And when he's about to pull you back, at that moment you and I have to remember the moment we felt gratitude that Allah pulled us out. How grateful were we when Allah pulled us out the first time? A person has to forget that. They have to forget the moment they made tawbah. They have to forget when they felt that closeness to Allah or the relief that Allah gave them. They have to let go of that for the devil to be successful in pulling them back again, in tempting them again. But it is in those moments when he tries to pull you and attack you from behind that you and I have to remind ourselves of how Allah has given us the gift of guidance, how Allah has given us the gift of tawbah, the gift of repentance, so that whenever that same temptation, that same attack, because the devil knows, it worked last time, let me try it again, it'll probably work again on this guy. I tried the last 10 times it worked, the 11th time it should work too. But if you've made tawbah and you've tasted its sweetness, that's what you should be grateful for. And that's what you have to remind yourself of. And if you can remind yourself of that, that attack won't work. If you can, and speak of it. Actually, if not to anybody else, speak to yourself of it. Ya Allah, you pulled me out of this. I will not let myself fall again. I am grateful for how you pulled me out of this mess. Look at all the evil that came in my life as a result of my mistake. Ya Allah, I'm not going to fall into that again. When you just even have that conversation with Allah, like I said, shukr isn't just a feeling. It has to manifest. And if that's the exercise you have to do, even talk to yourself, do it. Do it. Just don't do it in front of people. They'll think you're weird. If you're in your car by yourself, just talk to Allah. And acknowledge to Him that you are not going to be pulled back again by the call of shaitan. When the devil attacks from the right, that's one of the scariest. When he attacks from the right, he attacks from self-righteousness. It's, the attack from the right is when you think you're better than someone else, or you're doing good deeds more than someone else, or you're focused on the bad deeds of someone else, and in your mind, you're there to correct everybody else. You're there to fix everybody else. So your focus is never you. Your focus is always somebody else. When people think like that, you know what happens? In their mind, they own their own good deeds. If I've done Hajj, that's a huge accomplishment I accomplished. If I gave a khutbah, it's an accomplishment I have. If I memorize the Quran, it's an accomplishment I have. It's not. Any good deed you and I have done are gifts Allah has given us. We didn't earn them. That was a gift Allah gave us. Guidance itself is not something I earned, not something I own, not something I take credit for. As a matter of fact, I will never own it. I will always beg Allah for it. This is why the more good deeds we do, the more humble we should become. Allah gave me another chance to serve Him, another chance to serve Him, another chance to serve Him. That's supposed to, the good deeds are not supposed to make us feel like we're better. It's actually supposed to bury us under Allah's favor. Sheikh Suhaib, I was talking to him this afternoon about these ayat, and he shared something so beautiful with me. I want to share it with you, and I hope I don't butcher it. He said, when someone acknowledges how much Allah has favored them, then they become more and more humble. And being humble is like being Lord, right? You're just buried under someone's favor. And we're buried under Allah's favor. And the distance between me and my Rabb is infinite. Like Allah is supremely high and I'm supremely low. And when you realize how low you are and how much buried under Allah's favor, the weight of Allah's favor on you is so much, then when you look at the person next to you, you'll never think how much higher you are than them, because the distance between you and this other person, if you're an inch higher than them or 2 inches, is nothing compared to the infinite distance between you and Allah. This distance between us of better and worse becomes irrelevant. It becomes irrelevant. You're not even concerned about it because you're so overwhelmed by the overwhelming favor of Allah on you. This is what the right does. Good deeds that we do are supposed to make us more humble. People come to you when you do a good deed. And they'll praise you, and that'll start getting to your head. Yeah, I am pretty amazing. I am Allah's gift to this community. No, you're not. You'll be gone, and the deen will go on, and Islam will go on, and the Quran will go on, and Allah will use other, better, more humble slaves for His service. We are not an asset to Allah. We are not, we are honored to be able to serve Him, but we're not any better because we serve Him. As a matter of fact, you can't even think about that for yourself as opposed to other, even people that are not Muslim, that we're better than them. No, they're also children of Adam alayhi salam. We weren't made, ukhrijat minan nas, the best nation made, the best nation of the people. No, Allah said the best nation for the people, not of the people. We're not better than everyone else, we're better for everyone else. It's a complete difference, So this idea of, when you do engage in good deeds, then the devil comes in a sneaky kind of way, giving you a sense of lofty, self-importance. The way to be grateful to Allah, every time you get a chance to do something good, thank Allah. Every time. And the gratitude, this litmus test that I have for myself and I recommend for all of you, when you do something for somebody else, when you teach somebody else, when you give sadaqah to somebody else, when you help somebody else, somebody needed to move from their apartment, you helped them move furniture, somebody needed to learn some Quran, you taught them Quran, you did whatever service for other people, and they don't appreciate you. They don't remember what you did for them, and it makes you upset. You know what that means? There's still some devil inside left. When you did something for someone, you didn't do it for them. You did it for Allah. Allah recorded it, you should be happy. You're grateful that Allah gave you a chance to help. That's it. There's nothing more from you. You have no more expectations, not from people. You didn't do it for people. You did it for someone who's recorded it and he knows, and that's enough for me. I'm grateful that he recorded this good deed. If I said, oh man, I've got to prepare this khutbah, I hope people show up, or I give this speech, and 2 people show up. There's a hall of 1,000 and 2 people show up, and I'm upset, only 2 people came? What is this? The problem then is with me. Because I didn't, if I'm doing it for a crowd, or if I'm doing it for recognition, then I'm no longer grateful to Allah. The fact that I got a chance to serve, the fact that I got a chance to share something, that Allah gave me that opportunity, I'm grateful for that. I can't let anything else get in my head. Everything else comes from shaitan. So, وَلَا تَجِدُ أَكْثَرَهُمْ شَاكِرِينَ. And finally from the left, which is obvious, the left is when shaitan calls you to haram. The left is when shaitan calls you to things that are known evil. They are clearly disobedience to Allah. And when he's pulling you in that direction, the only thing that will protect you is when you become grateful for what is halal. When you become grateful for the fact that Allah did not, and shaitan will come to you and tell you, I don't know, this Islam thing is so hard, everything's haram. Everything's forbidden, man, it's so restrictive. There's so many rules. There's so many fences everywhere. Can't do this, can't do that, can't do this. Can't have any fun in life. That's the devil talking to you. And let me tell you, Allah Azza wa Jal in this same surah said, وَجَعَلْنَا لَكُمْ فِيهَا مَعَايِشْ قَلِيلًا مَا تَشْكُرُونَ. Allah said, in this world, He put things for you to enjoy. How little you're grateful. Just like in Jannah, everything was halal except one tree. In this world, all kinds of good things are halal. Except a few things that are filthy. Allah said stay away from them. But the devil tries to come and tell you, no, Islam says everything is haram, and you can't live your life if you follow Islam. No. That's a lie from the devil, making you ungrateful for the halal. So what that does is, the devil's job here is to make halal look ugly and the haram look beautiful. That's his job. His job is to make, I'll say that again, halal look ugly and the haram look beautiful. So what's he going to do? He's going to say, man, you got to drive all the way there to eat the halal food? There's a restaurant right here, just go here. In your head you're like, halal is too hard, too far away. Then some young man is thinking about marriage, and his family comes and says, well, you got to have, the girl's family says you have to have this much money, you have to have a house, you have to have this, you have to have that. Then we have to invite our cousins from Pakistan and from Afghanistan and from all the istans that are there, and we have to have this many dishes and that. And he's like, oh, this halal is really hard. I could just, go on social media and find myself somebody to hang out with. So much easier, free too. No pressure, nobody needs to know. Shaitan's job is to make the gateway to haram easy and the doors to halal difficult. Don't become an instrument of shaitan by making the halal difficult. Don't become that. Don't make the halal difficult for yourself. Don't make the halal difficult for your family. Because if that happens, he's easily able to pull people to the left. I know many young men, I know many young women that regret that they're in haram relationships. They regret that. Why are they in that? Because their family doesn't want to get them married. Not old enough yet. Old enough to do haram. Old enough to follow shaitan. Old enough to do all kinds of sins and ruin your akhirah, but not old enough to get married. Or not wealthy enough to get married. Or your other sisters haven't gotten married yet, this is why we can't marry you off. Who came up with these rules? This is when the door to halal is closed and the door to haram is opened. And we can't do that to ourselves, because then we're just following into His footsteps. This is what it means when Allah Azza wa Jal let us know that the devil wants to prove that we will not be grateful. We should be grateful for the doors Allah has opened for us with the halal. We should be grateful that Allah has guided us away from things that are harmful for us. Anything that Allah made haram has to be harmful for us. That's the only reason it's haram. يُحَرِّمُ عَلَيْهِمُ الْخَبَائِثِ. He only made haram for you things that are filthy, that are actually hurtful for you. Just like you wouldn't eat filth, just like you wouldn't consume filth, just like you wouldn't bathe in filth. You can't engage in filth and not get sick, not get dirty, not get contaminated. That's the purpose of it. And we have to be grateful for that guidance that Allah Azza wa Jal has given us. I pray that Allah Azza wa Jal sincerely makes all of us grateful human beings. And that Allah Azza wa Jal strengthen the bond that we have with Him and with His Word, and give us the strength through His Word to be able to fight all kinds of whispers of the devil. Barakallahu li wa lakum fil Qur'an al-Hakim wa nafa'ani wa iyyakum bil ayati wa dhikr al-Hakim.